Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be doing the Opposites book tag. I saw this book tag and it looked really fun and also pretty complex. I also wanted to do it because it felt like a good way to show you guys what kind of books I own, as well as some of the ones I've already read. So without further ado, let's get on to the first question. Question 1 is the first book in your collection and the last book that you bought. The first book in my collection, I honestly don't remember. I do remember a long time ago, I would read with my mom the little Peter Cottontail books. They were like really tiny books and there were like 12 of them. I don't know if that counts. If not, I'm pretty sure it was either the first Harry Potter book. If it wasn't that, then it was my first copy of Twilight, which I got rid of the first copy because I had the new 10th anniversary edition, and my friend needed it, so you know, I'm looking out for my friends here. The one I bought last was Fairest by Marissa Meyer. I also bought the other books in that series, but the most recent book to arrive is Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. Question 2, a cheap book and an expensive book. I'm gonna first go with the expensive book. I could not wait to buy this book. It was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. I had already read the first 2 books in the Infernal Devices, and so when this came out, I was eager to read it and purchase it. So I probably spent about $20 on this book. Well worth it though, definitely. And for cheapest, I did not actually pick a book out, because if you notice in the background, these here are the library tags. I haven't borrowed these from the library, I've bought them because we have a library book sale that goes on a lot. You basically get one of those big brown paper bags that you get at like the grocery store and you fill it with books, and it's $10. All of these books were approximately like 50 cents each, assuming I could fit like 20 in one bag, which I probably have. I'm very good at Tetris. Question 3 is a book with a male protagonist and a book with a female protagonist. For the male protagonist, I went with Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan? I always want to read it as Leviathan. I'm not entirely sure how to actually pronounce his last name. And it actually has 2 male protagonists, as it has Will Grayson and Will Grayson. And if you want to count Tiny, there you go. And the book with the female protagonist, I chose Exodus by Julie Bertagna. This is actually part of a duology, and I have read this one, but I did not realize it was a duology at the time. I had originally borrowed these from the library, the first one and the second one, Zenith, but I only managed to read the first one, and I don't know, I hadn't checked the second one out in time to read it again, so I will have to reread this one and read Zenith as well. But it was a really good book, so I'm looking forward to that. The next question is a book you read quickly and a book that took you a long time to read. The book that I read quickly was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I actually read the entire series really quickly. I read this book in one day. Read Catching Fire in 2 days and Mockingjay in 1 day. I had a good time. And the book that took me a while to read, it didn't take me a significantly long amount of time. I actually want to say the book that took me the longest to read was either Glass or Fallout by Ellen Hopkins, but I don't have either of those books anymore. And I did take a while to read this one, and it is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. The next question is a book with a pretty cover and a book with an ugly cover. The book with a pretty cover is Every Other Day by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I mean, look at how nice this looks. I noticed this the other day when I put my bookshelf back in here, because I like rearranged all the books and everything, because there was no way I was going to push this from one side of my room to the other with all the books in it. It's so nice. Like, look at that. It's so pretty. And the book with an ugly cover, it's definitely supposed to have an ugly cover, so they did a really good job. And it is The Fury by Alexander Gordon Smith. I mean, this cover is so ugh. Like, dude, what's wrong with your face? The next question is an international book and a national book. The international book I've chosen is Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. It obviously takes place in Germany and places over that way. The next book is a national book, and I have chosen The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner center for this book because it takes place, I'm pretty sure, in Seattle. Question 7 is a thin book and a thick book. For the thin book, I picked Dear Zoe by Philip Beard. This book is pretty small. It's definitely not my smallest. Number of the Stars is probably my smallest, at least the smallest physical copy. It's a little less than 200 pages. This book is extremely sad. Talk about depressing. And then the thick book that I have picked is actually the 10th anniversary edition of Twilight because it is 2 books in one, therefore it is very large. Question 8, a fiction book and a non-fiction book. For the fiction book, I just grabbed the most obviously fiction book from my shelf that I could find, and that would be The Revenge of the Shadow King by Derek Benz and J.S. Lewis. That's a goblin. Okay, fiction. Alright, good. And for the nonfiction book, I've chosen Atlantis. This book is basically just a, is it real or is it? Now back to what I was saying before. This book is basically a collaboration between quite a few people, and they're trying to basically assess whether they think Atlantis is factual or fictional. The next question is a romantic book and an action-filled book. For the romance book, I picked Girl Meets Boy, and I actually think this is an anthology because it has quite a collection of authors in it, which I never noticed before, but that's exciting. And for the action book, I picked Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I love the Infernal Devices, and this book has a lot of action in it. Like, even in the beginning, there's a bunch of action. I love. And that brings us to our last question, which is a book that made you happy and a book that made you sad. The book that made me happy, I'm gonna actually go with To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I could not put it down. Plus, it now has a bunch of good memories attached to it because I read it while I was on my trip to the mountains. So, and the book that made me sad. This book is probably going to be a common answer for people when they talk about sad books, and that is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This book is so sad, and I really want to reread it because it's been a while since I've read it. This book was so upsetting. I mean, I didn't cry when I read this book, but it still made me unbelievably sad. So, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button. I do attempt to publish a video weekly. Well, until next time, bye! I woke up early on a Monday. To read it, I may have to just wait until June.